Hello guys, welcome back to Fun with Frank. In this video, we are looking at top 10 parody movies. These films have had us laughing, crying and everything in between. They are the perfect blend of comedy and satire, poking fun at some of our favorite movies, TV shows and pop culture icons. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. The production of a funny movie parody is not a simple task. It is one thing to make a movie that makes fun of other movies. It's an entirely different thing to develop a movie that is truly entertaining and that succeeds on its own merits. Throughout the years, a wide variety of styles have been used as fodder for parody, with varied degrees of success. The parody movie genre has been around for a very long time and has been responsible for the creation of some genuinely iconic films. This is true whether you're talking about successful action movies or biopics. Here's a countdown for the 10 best parody movies. Hot Shots! It was directed by the legendary spoof director Jim Abrahams and was a fantastic parody of Top Gun as well as other classic films such as Gone with the Wind and Marathon Man. Was directed by Abrahams. Charlie Sheen, Valeria Golino, Cary Elwes and John Cryer were all fantastic in their roles in the amusing action comedy. The plot of the movie centered on Sheen's character, Topper Harley, a fighter pilot who deals with his own personal issues despite the fact that he does so in a humorous and funny manner. There was a follow-up film to this one called Hot Shots Part Dukes. Austin Powers Trilogy. The tale of a womanizing English agent opposed against a bald madman with a fondness for cats may call to mind innumerable James Bond films. But some people may think of Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery instead. The satirical take on James Bond and other spy movies was conceived by Mike Myers. One of the most memorable parts of the comedic era of 1990s was when he played both Austin Powers and his sworn enemy, Dr. Evil. Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox Story. If there was a certain subgenre of film that needed to be brought down a notch, it was the biopic. The Dewey Cox Story, also known as Walk Hard, not only challenged the conventions of the genre, but also created an epic tale that stood on its own merits as a standalone work. In this film directed by Judd Apatow, John C. Reilly played the role of the great singer Dewey Cox. The movie made fun of other movies like The Doors and Walk the Line while at the same time conveying a story that was unexpectedly moving and spans several decades of rock and roll music. A cult following was developed for the movie despite the fact that it did not break any box office records when it was released. The Naked Gun. In the beginning, Jim Abrahams, Jerry Zucker, and Adam Zucker collaborated on the creation of The Naked Gun as a television series, with Leslie Nielsen playing the lead role. The film adaptation of the series, known as Police Squad, became an instant smash which led to 2 sequels to the original film. The series itself was cancelled after only a few seasons. In this parody of a police procedural, Nielsen played the role of Lieutenant Frank Drebin, a law enforcement officer who became embroiled in a plot that involved the Queen of England. I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker is a parody of the blaxploitation genre that Keenen Ivory Wayans directed and starred in prior to the success of Scary Movie. Shaft and the general style of blaxploitation films from the 1970s were both lampooned in the 1988 movie that was a parody. The plot of the movie centered on a would-be hero named Jack Spade and his efforts to free the ghetto from the control of a local crime boss named Mr. Big. I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker marked not just Wayans' first time behind the camera as a director, but also the first time that Chris Rock and Marlon Wayans appeared in a film. Even the legendary figures from the blaxploitation genre such as Jim Brown and Bernie Cassie made appearances in the movie. This is Spinal Tap. Hello Cleveland, these well-known phrases bring to mind the timeless mockumentary that was shown here. There aren't many mockumentaries that can compare to the quality of This is Spinal Tap, especially not in terms of comedy. The film, written by mockumentary master Christopher Guest and directed by Rob Reiner, told the hilarious story of the hair metal band Spinal Tap, a band whose lack of self-awareness really made this one of the most legendary examples of mockumentaries. Blazing Saddles. Mel Brooks' Blazing Saddles is a hilarious spoof of the Western genre, and it is typically marketed as a film that could only have been made around the time of its release. The film is packed with jokes and set pieces that don't pull any punches, and it is a raucous comedy. Brooks and his ensemble, led by Cleavon Little and Gene Wilder, did an excellent job of communicating the message, despite the fact that the language was as crude as it gets. This was not some silly musical about cowboys singing, rather it was an authentic portrayal of the American Wild West. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Monty Python and the Holy Grail is a British comedy film that was released in 1975. The comedy group Monty Python directed and participated in the film Graham Chapman, John Cleese, Terry Gilliam, Eric Idle, Terry Jones, and Michael Palin. The story of King Arthur and his search for the Holy Grail is lampooned in this movie in a humorous way. The movie is famous for its bizarre humor, satirical perspective on the Arthurian mythology, and its usage of the trademark sketch comedy style of Monty Python. The movie contains a number of memorable sequences and lines of dialogue, including Bring Out Your Dead and Knights Who Say Nigh. A humorous rendition of the legend of the Trojan Rabbit may also be found in this motion picture. The movie did well at the box office and is now revered by members of certain subcultures. The next year, in 1979, a sequel titled Monty Python's Life of Brian was released. Airplane. In discussions about the best comedies of all time, Airplane is almost always on top. It is without a doubt the best parody that has ever been written. Each scene is flawlessly carried out and has an impressively quick-witted quantity of jokes that are all intended to make fun of the disaster genre. It was the success of the film Airplane that established David Zucker, Jerry Zucker, and Jim Abrahams as true experts in parody. Airplane is widely considered to be the best parody ever created due in large part to the iconic performance of Leslie Nielsen in the role of Dr. Rumek and the hilarious cameo of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as Roger the co-pilot. Young Frankenstein. The 1970s horror comedy Young Frankenstein is a directorial spoof of the classic Universal Monsters picture Frankenstein, the series' second installment. A young doctor, Gene Wilder, moves into his grandfather's castle and discovers a book detailing the process of reanimating dead bodies. Peter Boyle, who sadly passed away before filming began, gives new life to a corpse in his role as the monster. Although it's not really scary, the film is a timeless spoof. Thank you for watching the video.